Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. When Israeli-American actress Natalie Portman was selected to win the $1 million Genesis Award, the equivalent of a Jewish Nobel here in Israel, it seemed like a no-brainer. The Oscar winner was supposed to come to Israel in June to accept the prize in person. But now Portman has stunned Israeli lawmakers by saying she won't come because she refuses to be seen as endorsing Israel's government, namely its Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. When news of Portman's snub first broke out, right-wing Israeli leaders immediately lambasted Portman for apparently succumbing to the BDS movement to boycott Israel. Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan even claimed that she had been tricked by Hamas propaganda in the wake of the latest Gaza clashes, likening her decision to the character she played in the Star Wars prequels, writing, quote, "Anakin Skywalker, a character you know well from Star Wars, went through a similar process. I call on you not to let the dark side win," end quote. But Portman has just made a very clear and definitive personal statement on the matter, saying she is absolutely not part of the BDS movement, and that, quote, "Like many Israelis and Jews around the world, I can be critical of the leadership in Israel without wanting to boycott the entire nation," end quote. While Israel has been criticized for the death of some 35 Palestinians along the Gaza border in recent weeks, Portman's statement also seemed to allude to another controversial Israeli policy, its plan to forcibly deport nearly 38,000 African asylum seekers. While Netanyahu's Likud party has now attacked Portman as a hypocrite, other Israeli lawmakers see this as a big wake-up call, a sign that Jewish Americans are becoming more and more disgruntled with the policies of the State of Israel. A Palestinian man now confirmed as a top Hamas engineer has just been killed in a drive-by style shooting in Malaysia. The man's name is Fadi Mohammed al-Bach, and he had reportedly just published a major new advancement on drone technology before he was killed. Hamas has blamed Israel's Mossad agency for the killing, while Israel, as per its policy, has remained mum on any involvement. Malaysia's deputy prime minister has confirmed that the people behind al-Bach's killing are believed to be Europeans well linked to foreign intelligence. Though Israel may certainly have its own reasons to carry out an assassination like this, namely to keep advanced drone and rocket technology out of Hamas's hands, Hamas's enemies are numerous to say the least. An autopsy just conducted in Malaysia has revealed no new leads. Witnesses say al-Bach was on his way to a local mosque for prayer that morning when two shooters on motorcycle riddled him with bullets. In other security-related news, Israeli forces in the West Bank arrested 15 alleged Hamas members around Ramallah in connection to planned terror activities. All were being surveilled after supposedly having contacted and received instructions from a senior Hamas official. The group was also apparently receiving money from Hamas to fund their actions. The raids were a joint operation conducted by the IDF, the Shin Bet, and the Israeli police. According to a statement released by the army, a total of 19 Palestinians were arrested overnight, but 4 were not part of the Hamas cell. A printing press used for making materials, quote, "inciting to terrorism," end quote, and a car were also confiscated. Despite high hopes that the Czech Republic would follow the United States' suit and move its embassy to Jerusalem, Czech Prime Minister Babiš made official on Friday that it's not going to happen anytime soon. Not wanting to break with the European Union, Babiš said on Radio Prague that the issue of Jerusalem must be resolved in negotiations before an embassy could be relocated there. That being said, with intentions to increase their presence in Israel, Babiš said there shouldn't be any problem opening a consulate in Jerusalem in the meantime instead. The honorary consulate is slated to open within the coming months, and that's not all. A Czech center in the heart of Jerusalem might also be in the works to open by the end of the year. The opening of the center in the Holy Land would be scheduled to coincide with the visit of Czech President Miloš Zeman. A recent United States State Department report on human rights has, for the first time in nearly 30 years, stopped referring to the Palestinian territories as occupied by Israeli military forces. In previous years, a chapter referring to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict was titled, quote, "Israel and the Occupied Territories," end quote. But this year, the document reads only Israel, Golan Heights, West Bank, and Gaza. Though some will argue that this is merely semantics, the change has already rallied fierce debate. Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman has applauded the change, saying that the United States has undone the, quote, "lie of the occupied Palestinian territories," end quote. American Ambassador to Israel David Friedman has been pushing to drop this language of occupied from official U.S. texts since at least last year, and clearly the Trump administration has agreed with him. Still, both activists and historians say the nuance dangerously whitewashes Israel's role in a highly controversial affair. Israeli military forces have occupied disputed Palestinian territories since 1967. Last year marked the 50th anniversary of the beginning of IDF entrenchment in those territories, making this the longest military occupation in modern history. Despite the syntax, the State Department's report did include scathing accusations of human rights violations on all sides, including against Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, and the Israeli army. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.